Hi, my name is Travis Schaefer, and this is EDL 853, Module 14, and this is the case study, When a Student's Rights Are Wronged. Go ahead and get started with some background information. Nottingham High School, located in Dover, student population of 3,200. They have relocatable trailers that provide classroom space. They have an outstanding academic program, outstanding football program, and then a quarter of the school has not been updated due to lack of funding, which is a big deal in this case. Okay, our first significant person in this case is Miguel Hernandez. He moved to Nottingham High as a sophomore for academics and football. He's the starting varsity quarterback. He's a strong leader. He was injured during a football game, became paralyzed from the waist down. And I really enjoyed this case because um, roundabout way, same thing happened to my wife. She was in a car accident and she became paralyzed from the waist down. So I know a little bit about what Miguel is going through and the accommodations that he needs. So this case really kind of struck close to my heart. And also, his goal is to attend a university. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, they moved their family, their four sons, to Nottingham High for academics and athletics. They're very involved in their children's education, and they are great communicators with the school. Some other key players, Ms. Gusman, she's a school counselor. Howard Carey is Miguel's attorney, and I thought this was kind of relevant that the case study said that it was Miguel's attorney and not Miguel's parents' attorney. So kind of a significant piece there. And then there's Dr. Harvey, who's the superintendent, and the biology teacher is a significant key player as well. Okay, so establishing the facts in section 1. On his first day back from his injury, Miguel, who's in a wheelchair, was denied access to a class that he needs college admission for. And then for the reason of the classroom was not accessible. And then after an assembly for Miguel, he was told to go see Ms. Gusman, the school counselor, where he was told that he was moved out of biology into a different class based on the fact that he couldn't get around to the biology class, so not an accessible way. This was done without consultation of Miguel or his parents, and it was kind of a bad deal because it wouldn't help him meet it. It would help him meet his graduation requirements, but not the college admission requirements. Miguel's mother, very upset. She demanded he be reinstated, questioned why he was denied access, and then brings us to Miguel's lawyer, who brought up Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that prohibits discrimination of disability programs, and then the right to free and appropriate education, FAPE, and then some other members are going to include, like I said before, Ms. Gusman, school principal, biology teacher, and the superintendent. Okay, so some legal and ethical issues that they're facing. Because Miguel is now in a wheelchair, he was denied his rights to an education because school's not accessible. So this was based on the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, IDEA, which requires schools to find and evaluate students suspected of having disabilities at zero cost to families, and then FAPE, the free and appropriate public education. So in Miguel's situation, he's being discriminated against, and the accommodations are not being made for him due to the accessibility of the school and getting into that biology class. And so, an additional legal issue would be the American with Disabilities Act, which is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of a disability in employment, public service, and accommodation. So Miguel doesn't have an IEP or services that have been determined that will best fit Miguel in his situation. So, synthesizing this in one sentence, McGill's rights are in violation of the school based on Nottingham High's lack of accessibility, which puts them in a legal bind under the established necessities from FAPE in Section 504. Okay, so synthesizing the facts, what do I know? I know that Miguel Hernandez was paralyzed from the waist down during a football game. His parents communicate well with the school, but they're upset because of the lack of communication by the school. And then the superintendent, Dr. Harvey, he's very supportive of the school, very well liked by the school. And then the principal, who is me in this case, met with Mrs. Hernandez, and this was after the decision had been made to put that change in his schedule. And then Miss Guzman, the school counselor, is the one who changed Miguel's biology class due to the lack of accessibility. And then Howard Carey, lawyer, voiced Miguel's rights to the school. Okay, some things that I need to know. Has accessibility been denied to other students? Are there other students that are needing accessibility? Have there been previous students that the same things happened to, but nothing has been said? Does the biology teacher have any say on the situation? And then what's Dr. Harvey's stance on accommodations and best fitting the students? Okay, so what do I know about high school? I know that it's located in Dover. There's a student population of 3,200. They have relocatable trailers that provide classroom space, and then a quarter of the school has not been updated due to the lack of funding. Okay, what do I need to know about the school? What does our funding look like so we can improve the accessibility? How can we improve our building accessibility? What's the easiest way we can get this done? Are there any grants, funds available to finish that portion of the school that's not accessible? Are there any accessible classrooms that are not being used right now? And is there a possibility of teachers switching classrooms so that Miguel can get his biology class in? And then why is the classroom not accessible? Could there be a short-term fix that we could put in to make it accessible? Is it 12 stairs, or is it 2 stairs? Something like 2 stairs, we could do something pretty quick with, I would think. But something like 10, 12 stairs would be a little more difficult. Okay, so the program, what do I know about that? I know that they have an outstanding academic and football program. The biology classroom is not accessible, and it's unavailable to Miguel. And then Miguel's biology class got switched to meet graduation requirements. What I need to know about the program is, was I communicated with about the decision of Miguel moving classes? Did school counselor communicate with me? How can we best serve Miguel in terms of meeting his needs and his college requirements? And then does Miguel have a 504 plan in place, or is that something that we need to look into? Okay, so Section 4. This situation could be extremely damaging to the stakeholders involved. These stakeholders include Miguel, who was denied educational opportunity, his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, who are being shut out of Miguel's educational experience with not being communicated with, and then Dr. Harvey, who is being scrutinized with the decisions that were being made. It doesn't sound like he was told. And then the principal, who is me, and then I'm a potential defendant in a lawsuit right now, Ms. Gusman as well. And then the biology teacher, there's potential for altering the curriculum and a change in classroom. And then the community and school as well, the reputation could be damaged. The funding for school improvements could be hindered if a lawsuit with monetary damages proceeds. So the stakeholders weren't informed of this decision made by Ms. Gusman, which is a problem in this case. Okay, some options and possible consequences. Following the meeting with the stakeholders, following possibilities were presented, and they were agreed upon for the benefit of the students and the school. So we would meet with an architect and begin diagramming an updated version of the non-accessible portion of the school. And then we could look at how to best move teachers and classes to meet the needs of all students, which is very cost effective. And then develop a better plan in communication with parents and students with special needs. And we could draft a policy for this type of issue going on right now so it doesn't happen again. Okay, so some pros and cons of this. If we begin revamping the school to make it accessible, it becomes up to code and it benefits all the students. Whereas one of the cons would be it means spending money that may not be available for the school right now. If we update and maintain the status of the school, again, it would make it up to code and it benefits all students, but again, monies may not be available. If we have the teachers move classrooms, that means students like Miguel could have the accessibility, and a con would be pushback from the teachers, and some other students may be affected by this as well. Plan of communication would help get the parents and students to receive that important information about their students. And then a con would be pushback from the staff. They might feel it's redundant and they've already got policies in place. So in choosing the best option, I feel like the best course of action would be have a discussion with the teachers about moving classrooms. To make it accessible for Miguel, this could be a temporary fix, but it fixes the problem right now if no monies are available. And so it's very cost effective until reconstruction on that portion of the building can be afforded. This decision might cause some pushback of staff and students, but communication is crucial, and meeting with all parties involved and giving an explanation is temporary, but it's an important element. And then all stakeholders have been communicated with now about the possible short-term solution, as well as how to arrive at a long-term solution. So these are the steps in implementing this. So I would set up a meeting with Miguel and his parents, along with Howard Carey, to communicate and listen about the different concerns that all parties might have concerning Miguel. Step 2, we'd come to an agreement about a course of action. Step 3, and discussion of a 504 plan from Miguel would need to be had. Step 4, we would discuss the plans with faculty and staff regarding accessibility of the classrooms. Step 5, we would go ahead and implement that plan of moving classes as a short-term solution. And then step 6, we would begin discussing the long-term plans with the key stakeholders. Step 7, we would begin the financial planning necessary to afford a larger scale construction for accessibility. And step 8, we would communicate those plans of reconstruction with the community, all stakeholders involved, and then if agreed upon, we could go ahead and begin construction of the revamped buildings and classroom. Okay, so these are my standards, which will be posted above my submission, as well as my reflection. And thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this class as much as I did. I learned a ton that I didn't know before, and I think that this is only the beginning for me and knowing about special education. It's going to definitely open up my eyes and cue me in to do more research amongst my endeavors of becoming a principal. So thank you guys very much for listening, and have a great rest of the summer.